Hello guys, welcome to this video. This is my first video of DBMS tutorial series. In this video I'm going to teach you about how to create a database and how to create some tables in that database. So to do those things I use MySQL Workbench software. I decided to use that software for other videos that I'm going to do in the future. So in this playlist I use some question sets that gives us some instructions to create the database. So in that question set we can see some paragraphs in it. So that paragraph tells us why do we need to create the database. It gives an idea for us why do we need to create the database. So as you can see here, I have got my first question set. We have more question sets in the future, and now we're going to follow this. And um, first of all, let's read the paragraph that I have told you. So you can see this is the paragraph. The data of all the students and teachers in Pindu Mahavidyalaya are stored in books. As a result, some data has been destroyed. Therefore, the principal of the school has decided to enter the data of all the students and teachers in the school into computer software. The software was commissioned by AI Soft. Assume you work as a software engineer for that company and the part you are assigned is to create the database. To do this, create a database using the information below. As you can see here, we have three instructions that we need to follow to create the database. You can see two tables in this question set. That table gives us information of a table that we need to create. So for example, if you take the first table, you can see the first column is table name. In front of that we can see our table name, and next we have column names. Under this column name we have all the column names that we need to use to create the table. And in the data type column we can see the data type of those columns, and in the length column we can see the maximum amount of maximum length of data that we can insert into those columns. And first let's follow the first instruction. So first instruction tells us to create a database called SchoolDB to store teacher and student data. Now I'm going to open my MySQL Workbench software to create the database. Okay, let's open that. Right, when you open that you will see something like this in the left side of the window. If you don't see something like this, you will see a panel like this because you are in the administration tab. Now you need to jump into the schemas tab in order to see the database list. Right, if you don't see this left panel like this, if you don't see that one, you need to click on this icon on the top right corner. So if you click this icon, you will see that navigator panel. So go to schemas tab, activate the schemas tab, then you will see some databases here. Now we're going to create our database. So to create the database we need to right click on this area and click on create a schema. Then you'll get a new tab with the content like this. In the name field you need to provide your database name. In this case we're going to name our database as SchoolDB according to our question set. I'm going to name it as that. Okay, now I have named my database. What I need to do next is to click on this apply button to create the database. If you click on the apply button you'll get a window like this. Don't change anything here, just click on apply button on this window and now click on finish. Now you don't need this tab anymore, you can close that one if you need. And you can see a SchoolDB database is in this list. If you don't see the database in this list, you need to click on this refresh icon. if you click on that, you will see the database you have created. So if we expand the SchoolDB database, our database, you'll see some items like this. Now let's jump into the next instruction in the question set. So the second one tells us to create a table called a student to store students data. Follow the instructions below to create this table. Okay, now let's follow this instruction to create this student table. I'm going to split the screen, then we can see the two softwares. Okay, now we can see our table. Now let's create that student table first. So to create the table, expand the database that we have created, and you can see an item called tables. Now click on that, right click on that, then click on create table. Okay, now you'll get a tab with the content like this. In the table name field, you need to provide your table's name. So the table name must be a student according to our question set. Now let's do that. Student, I named it as a student. Then what I have to do next is I need to add the columns. To add the columns, we need to double click on this area, then you can type your column name. Our first column name is index number. You can see that here, index number. I'm going to name my first column index number, and the data type is varchar. And when you select varchar, you can see some parentheses. Within those parentheses, we are going to put our data length. So in this case, our index number data length must be 10. So we're going to put 10 within the parentheses. So this means our index number must contain maximum 10 characters. If we exceed that bound, we will get an error. We cannot insert the data. And after that, my second column is first name, and next one is last name, and after that we have gender, and that length of data is 10. And next I have contact number, and I have this data length, and next we have address. It has 60 characters. Right, so now we have added all the columns of a student table. Now let's create the table. To create the table, you need to click on this apply button. Let me maximize this one. Now we need to click on this apply button to create the table. Don't change anything here, just click on apply, click on finish. Okay, now we have created our table. If you want to see the table, you can now expand the table's item. When you expand that, you will see our student table is there. So now let's move to the next instruction. Next instruction tells us to create a table called teacher to store teachers' data. Follow the instructions below to create this table. Okay, now you know how we created the student table. Like that, you can create the teacher table by looking at this information in the table. So let's create the table by right clicking on the table item under our database. Now I name it as teacher, and our first column must be teacher registration number, and teacher registration number is the first column of this table, and the data type of it is varchar, and length is 10. Now let's move to the next column, which is first name, and last name, and after that we have gender. Next we have contact number, and next we have email. Right, now we have created our teach table, and now let's actually we haven't created the teacher table yet. We just inserted the column information and the table name. So to create the table, we need to click on that apply button and click on apply and click on finish. Now we have created our teach table too. Now if you look at our tables item on our database, you can see the two tables, student table and teacher table. Now we have created them successfully. Now we reached to the end of the question set. We don't have any instructions anymore. Now this is all for this video, guys. I hope you learned something from this video. If you have some questions about this, please put them in the comment section below, and if you like this video, give a like to this video and share your video to others to learn how to create a database and how to create some tables in it using MySQL Workbench software. And in the next video I'm going to take my second question set. So thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video.